This one's going to be packed with real tricks that'll save riders money and keep their bikes running strong without lining a mechanic's pockets. There are a lot of things they won't tell you at the shop, either because it kills their business or because they'd rather charge you for stuff you could easily do yourself. So today, I'm breaking down some of the best motorcycle maintenance tips that mechanics don't want you to know. Let's get into it. Number 1, your chain doesn't need expensive, special lubes. Walk into any shop and they'll try to sell you some overpriced, high-performance chain lube that costs way more than it should. Here's what they won't tell you. You don't need fancy chain lube. Plenty of riders, myself included, have used simple gear oil or even a good quality synthetic motor oil to keep chains running smoothly. The key is consistency, not branding. The only real rule: don't use WD-40 as a lube. It's a degreaser, not a proper lubricant. Otherwise, you can save yourself a ton of cash by skipping the overpriced spray cans. Number 2, flushing your coolant is easier than they say. Some mechanics love to act like a coolant flush is a complicated, time-consuming job, and they'll happily charge you $100 plus for something you can do yourself in under an hour. Truth is, a coolant flush is dead simple. Just drain the old coolant, run some distilled water through to flush any gunk, then refill with fresh coolant. Most bikes only need this every 2 years, but some shops will try to sell you on it every season. Check your manual, don't overpay, and if you've got a wrench and a drain pan, you can do it yourself. Number 3, your battery doesn't have to die every 2 years. Mechanics love selling batteries because they know most riders don't maintain them properly. They'll tell you, batteries just die after a couple of years. It's normal. Nope. A properly maintained battery can last 5+ years, sometimes longer. The trick: keep it on a battery tender when you're not riding. Letting a battery drain completely kills its lifespan, and most failures happen because riders let them sit too long without charging. If you take care of it, you won't be handing over $100 plus for a new one every 2 seasons. Number 4, clean your air filter instead of replacing it. Shops love to tell you, your air filter is dirty, you need a new one. And guess what? They'll happily charge you for it. Here's what they won't mention. Most air filters can be cleaned and reused instead of being replaced. If you have a foam or a fabric filter, just wash it, re-oil it, and you're good to go. Even paper filters can sometimes be blown out with compressed air. Unless it's torn, clogged beyond saving, or falling apart, you don't need a new one. This simple trick saves you at least $30 to $50 every time, and your engine still gets clean air. Number 5, dielectric grease can save you from electrical nightmares. Ever had random electrical gremlins? Maybe a flickering headlight, a weak spark, or a dead bike for no reason? Mechanics love charging for electrical repairs, but what they won't tell you is that most of these issues come from bad connections. A little dielectric grease on your battery terminals, ignition connectors, and spark plug boots prevents corrosion and moisture buildup. It stops weird electrical failures before they even happen, and a tube costs you under $10. Shops would rather sell you a full electrical inspection for $100, but this one trick keeps your bike's wiring trouble-free for years. Number 6, keep your fork seals from leaking with a simple trick. Fork seal replacements are not cheap. Mechanics will happily charge you hundreds for a job that can sometimes be avoided with a $5 trick. Here's what they won't tell you. Most fork seal leaks aren't actually blown seals. A lot of the time, they're just dirt stuck under the lip, making it look like a leak. Before you shell out cash for a full rebuild, try cleaning the seals first. Take a piece of thin plastic, like a business card or a SealMate tool, slide it under the seal, and gently work it around the fork tube. 9 times out of 10, you'll clear out the dirt and stop the leak instantly. This one trick has saved riders hundreds on unnecessary fork jobs. Number 7, stop over-tightening your oil drain plug. One of the most common mistakes I see riders make, and shops won't warn you about, is over-tightening the oil drain plug. Mechanics love when riders do this because stripping the threads means you'll have to pay them to fix it. But here's the thing, your drain plug doesn't need to be torqued down like a lug nut on a semi-truck. Over-tightening can crack the oil pan, strip the threads, or even cause leaks instead of preventing them. Just snug it hand tight plus a little extra, or better yet, use a torque wrench and follow the manual. This simple habit saves you from expensive repairs down the road. Number 8. Your brake fluid doesn't need changing as often as they say. Ever notice how some shops try to sell you a brake fluid flush every year? Yeah, that's because it's easy money. Brake fluid does absorb moisture over time, but unless you're riding in extreme conditions or racing, it doesn't need replacing that often. In most cases, every 2 to 3 years is fine. The trick is checking it yourself. If it's dark brown or has debris floating in it, it's time for a flush. But if it's still clear or light amber, you're probably good. Mechanics won't tell you this because they make a fortune on unnecessary fluid changes. Number 9. Don't let them sell you an unnecessary valve adjustment. Valve adjustments are one of the priciest maintenance jobs out there. Some mechanics push them early just to pad the bill, even if your bike doesn't actually need one yet. Here's the thing, not all bikes need frequent valve checks. Some modern motorcycles have hydraulic lifters that never need adjustment. Others only need a check every 20,000 to 30,000 miles. If your bike is running fine, no ticking noises, no loss of power, no hard starts, your valves are probably fine. Before agreeing to an expensive valve job, check your owner's manual for the real service interval. If the shop is pushing one way too soon, they're just trying to take your money. Number 10. Your tires don't need special shop air. Ever been told, you should let us refill your tires with nitrogen? It keeps the pressure more stable and improves handling. Yeah, that's mostly a sales gimmick. Shops charge extra for nitrogen fills, but plain old air works just fine. Nitrogen does hold pressure slightly longer, but unless you're racing, the difference is so minor it's not worth the cost. Mechanics push it because it's easy money. Just check your tire pressure regularly and use a decent air pump. Your bike won't know the difference. Number 11. Use anti-seize on bolts you might need to remove again. Ever had a stuck bolt that won't budge and you end up stripping it or snapping it clean off? Yeah, mechanics love when that happens because now you're paying them to drill it out and fix it. A tiny dab of anti-seize on bolts like axle nuts, exhaust header bolts, or spark plugs can save you a ton of trouble down the line. It keeps them from seizing up, especially if you ride in wet or salty conditions. Shops won't tell you this because they make money when you come in with a broken bolt. A small tube of anti-seize costs a few bucks and saves you from a big headache later. Number 12. A simple toothbrush can extend the life of your chain. Shops love selling new chains and sprockets. But what they won't tell you is that most riders kill their chain way too early by letting grime build up. Instead of spending money on fancy chain cleaning tools, just grab an old toothbrush and some kerosene or chain cleaner. A quick scrub once a month keeps dirt from grinding away at your chain and sprockets, easily doubling their lifespan. A well-maintained chain can last 20,000 miles, but if you let it get filthy, you'll be buying a new one much sooner. This 1-minute habit saves you hundreds in the long run. Number 13. Stop buying overpriced motorcycle-specific cleaning products. Ever notice how bike shops sell special motorcycle cleaners and polishes at twice the price of regular stuff? Yeah, it's a gimmick. Most of those expensive cleaners are just repackaged automotive or household products. A good quality automotive wax works just as well on your tank as a motorcycle-specific one. Same goes for plastic polish, glass cleaner, and degreasers. Shops love when you waste money on overpriced specialty products. Stick to basic, proven cleaning supplies. Your bike won't know the difference, but your wallet sure will. Number 14. Check your wheel bearings before they fail. Most riders never think about their wheel bearings until they start making weird noises, or worse, seize up completely. Mechanics love this because replacing wheel bearings after they fail usually means extra labor costs. But here's the thing, checking them takes 30 seconds. Just lift the front wheel, spin it, and feel for roughness or wobbling. Do the same for the rear. If they're smooth and quiet, you're good. If you're hearing grinding or feel resistance, time to replace them before they fail on the road. A new set of wheel bearings costs next to nothing, but ignoring them can leave you with a huge repair bill. Mechanics aren't all bad, but let's be real, they make money when you don't know how to do basic maintenance yourself. The good news? Most expensive repairs can be avoided with a little know-how and regular upkeep. Hopefully you picked up a few tricks today that'll save you cash and keep your bike running strong. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the best DIY trick you've learned to maintain your bike? Or what's the worst unnecessary repair a mechanic ever tried to sell you? Drop a comment below and let's talk. And if you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, I've got plenty more riding wisdom coming your way. Ride safe, ride smart, and keep the rubber side down.